everyone, and welcome to another training call with SWS TV. And today I'm very excited to have with us Toby Wakelin of Virtual IT, which is a leading IT support company here in London. Welcome to the call, Toby.
Hi, Nishit. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it's really nice to have you on the call today.
Thanks very much for having me.
Sure. Toby is a customer service manager at Virtual IT. And as I mentioned before, they are an IT support specialist company. So Toby, IT is something that's very critical in everyday business infrastructure, with a lot of services that are being served from various platforms, whether it's mobile, desktop, or working from home, and so on. So how is it different from what you do and having an in-house IT support team? What's the difference?
I think it's. I think IT in the last 10 years has taken a dramatic shift. I think particularly for our sector, which is focused on the small and medium enterprises, it's no longer really sustainable to just have maybe a small server in the corner of your office supported by a man in a van or something. We've got new technologies which in the past 18 months have really started to come to fruition and mature. We all hear about cloud services such as off-site backup now, hosted email, through to infrastructure as a service or software as a service. All of these things I think they lend themselves quite favourably towards actually outsourcing, because if you didn't, the amount of time that one would now have to invest in supporting one's own IT would just detract from you being able to get on with whatever your actual core business function is. So I think it's almost a golden time for outsourcing your IT.
Fantastic. So now we know most small businesses would be happy to outsource the IT to a specialist team because it's somebody who knows what they're doing very well. They don't have to hire an extra staff. They don't even have to hire extra equipment or buy extra equipment and buy licenses and things like that. So let's get into a little bit of the kind of services that you offer. What sort of services can be outsourced to a company like yours?
While it's up to the business ultimately, but if you want, you can effectively outsource everything from your entire infrastructure to the support mechanics, and actually that's what Virtual IT does. Our sort of mission is to be able to take away all of the pain of IT from our clients, and we'll manage and do everything. So that means from the computers on your desk to the server in your comms room if you've got one, through to hosted email we provide now, and your offsite backup. And we've also got our own data centers and partners where we're able to provide hosted desktop virtual servers, entire virtual infrastructures. Basically any facet of your IT, it's now possible to outsource to a trusted provider such as ourselves.
Fantastic. So that means my company can grow rapidly and not have to worry about the IT infrastructure sort of issues.
I think so very much. I mean, that respects an issue is scalability, particularly in fast-moving businesses and economies at the moment. Unless you've got a really strong IT knowledge in-house, you might very quickly reach a point where your IT is no longer scalable with your business, and actually that can have huge detrimental effects on productivity and the effectiveness of your organization. So having a managed service provider such as ourselves facilitate that IT, we build our environments with scalability in mind.
Fantastic. Okay, so there are a number of IT service providers or IT support companies in London.
Yeah.
And I want the viewers to learn a little bit more about Virtual IT. What's the history, the background, and what makes them different from other IT service companies out there in the market?
Well, Virtual IT's been around now for about 13 years. I've been working here for just over 7, in fact. And the inception of virtual IT wasn't with a technical focus. Our managing director, who is one of the founders, has always worked in various aspects of technology throughout his entire career, through either working for or owning businesses. And the big thing that historically that is missing from IT is service. The picture of IT professionals are, thick-rimmed glasses, people with adenoids who hide in these rooms with no windows and aren't very good at social interaction, but are very good at administering systems. But that's no good, because if they're not able to interact with their customer, whether it's an internal customer or an external customer, they're not going to be able to deliver what it is that business needs. Virtual IT was built with that in mind, and so we are very much, we are a service, we call ourselves a service business before we call ourselves a technology business, because it's actually, the IT is the enabler, but the delivery that we're providing is actually that service piece. Obviously, I would say this, I'm the customer service manager, but it's very much ingrained in our ethos that we're there to support the humans. It's just so happens that the aspect of that support is around their IT and technology.
Fantastic. So that's a key aspect of what you guys do, which is to offer the best service possible within the industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
For clients or customers that work with you, what would you say is the biggest benefit they take away from engaging your services?
I think our most successful relationships with our client base, many of whom have now actually been with us, they're coming into, some of them are for 9 and 10 years they've been with us, and it's when they treat us as their IT partner that they actually interact with us not as a detached service provider, such as the bigger ones like the BTs or the British Gases of this world, but actually have us semi-integrate within their organisation and work with us so that we can work with them, not just say, I want this, do it. Because it's through that more consultative and involved relationship that you're actually able to really help benefit that client and get them as the best amount of value you can for, their buck, frankly.
Fantastic. So it's not just a productized service that we offer IT support and that's it. You actually go over and beyond the call of duty to give them best value for money.
I think I think that's so important in this day and age. It would be very easy to say, here's a menu of stuff we do, buy what you want, you can have it all modular and you can bolt bits on, but a lot of customers these days, they're not IT focused. The age-old question we have here is, what is it that you want to achieve? Rather, when the customer says, I want to do this, or I want this, rather than just blindly say, yeah, sure, we'll make money off of that, that's great. It's actually to stop for a moment and say, but what is it you're trying to achieve? Because in a lot of instances, it might be that there is a more cost-effective solution for them, or a no-cost solution for them that they're just not aware of. And while putting a business hat on, and that might sound like that doesn't work because you're a business and you're there to make money. It's only by fostering that sort of relationship that you can have a long-term relationship where actually both organizations can benefit.
Fantastic. So, Toby, at SWS TV, we regularly interview experts in local business like yourselves, and we've got viewers who are in local business owners, and some of the questions that we've been asked to put forward to you includes things like, how does your help desk operate and how is it set up?
Oh, right, okay. So when I first started, it was actually my primary remit to develop the help desk itself into a more sustainable model, because obviously we were quite conscious that we were very growth focused. So what I've done is taken my experience in corporate and applied it here. And actually, what you find at Virtual IT now is a very traditional corporate model help desk. We have first line, which forms the physical bulk of the staff. These are the guys who will be there on the phones 24 hours a day, and not just call loggers. They're not just glorified technical secretaries. Their remit is to resolve 85 to 90% of all the issues that get logged with that person. The remaining 10 to 15% that they're not able to resolve would be escalated to one of my two other teams, the first being second line, which is they're more experts in bespoke applications, or they would deal with the more protracted issues that might take a few hours, well, quite a few hours, or dare I say in some instances quite a few days to follow through to completion. It's not practical to have someone on the front line doing that, so that's second line's role. Or the network operations team, where it
as a business owner, that would be something really, really important to me to know. If I'm to outsource my IT to your company, what's the level of support I would get? And I'm quite comfortable and confident that that's the sort of thing people would be looking out for.
Yeah, one of the other advantages as well is that we are 24 hours, 365 days a year. So despite the fact that we have an office in London, and that has core business hours as a normal business, a lot of SMEs, like you mentioned, go, well, but I'm working all hours. How are you going to facilitate me? And that's a big reason why people come to us, is that we also have an out of hours desk where we actually have support. Because it's remote support, we're able to provide a seamless level of service 24 hours a day. And I think that's a big seller for a lot of people, because they just don't have that coming from a man in the van, or actually even just their own internal staff.
Yes, as a business owner, it gives me a certain level of confidence, a feeling of comfort that if I have an issue, it's going to be taken care of at the earliest, so my business doesn't suffer.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So another question we've been asked is, do you work to any key metrics? Are there any measurements that you can report back on?
It is an interesting position I find myself in as a customer service manager, where actually it's all about the humans, but it is ultimately one of my primary functions to convert all of this work into numbers. We have metrics and numbers for basically everything. Everything is measurable within this environment, which sounds terrible when basically I'm converting all of these staff who are doing a really good job into a series of metrics, but everything is reported on here. As I said earlier, the expectation on first line is that a minimum of 85% of all the issues each individual resolves will be done at first contact or with that person. We've got a median time to close at the moment of about 26 minutes for an issue. That's not to say everything's done in that time, but the vast majority of them are these days. In terms of our SLAs is a popular one in so much as, well, what in our contracts people might say, well, I want everything resolved in this amount of time. We don't have a hard SLA like that here at Virtual IT, because what we believe in is, because you're outsourcing your IT and it is to an external desk, it's not like we're sitting in our customers' offices. It's important for our customer to reserve the right to confirm when an issue is resolved. If we were to have a hard SLA, then that would empower us to say, well, as far as we're concerned, this problem's fixed, we're closing this ticket, goodbye. And actually, that's not very good in terms of customer experience. So while we measure metrics and we have kind of this soft SLA to resolve an issue, the customer reserves the right to keep an incident open for as long as possible. We do, however, have commitments to respond. So we do have SLAs for response time. So if you haven't phoned the desk and obviously spoken to someone, which means you have an immediate response time, you can contact us via email or our support portal, and we will, I think in 99% of issues, get back to you within 30 minutes, just to make sure that, give you the comfort that we're aware of your issue, that it's not fallen into a black hole, and we're focused on resolving it for you.
Fantastic. So that solves a lot of the key areas of concern for a small business owner. whose entire business may be relying on having that IT system up and running. So a quick response time is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and it's it's the real seller is if you're outsourcing your IT, you just want that security to know that the people you're outsourcing it to are committed to that level of communication as well. Even if an issue is going to take a while, most business owners say, I acknowledge that IT can go wrong. That's obviously why IT support companies exist. But the important thing is when they do go wrong, that there is that level of communication and proactive communication throughout that issue or incident, so that so that people can just focus on the task in hand rather than worrying about when their IT is going to work, if their IT is going to work, or what's actually going on.
Great. So just to recap, if there's an issue in my business and I need to speak to somebody, who shall I speak to?
Well, you can speak to the way we work it here is obviously we've got the first line team. However, the likes of myself in my ivory tower, we don't manage to stay away either. Basically, all of our clients will be given the main number for the support desk. You can contact us via email, but also what they do have is a list of escalation paths. So my details, all of my team leaders, their details, the account manager, each client will have an account manager, the head of account management, all the way through to our managing director. All of these numbers are made available to our customers. We recognise that there's no value gained by being completely rigid, saying you can only contact us on this number and you can only speak to these core people, because it depends on what the issue is as well. So we try and share as much of these avenues of communication as possible.
Fantastic. Toby, it sounds like Virtual IT is indeed a soundly run company. It has its core principles in place, and you seem to have a good number of clients from what I've had a word with you guys before. So if you've got somebody who'd like to find out more about what you offer and how you operate, what is the best way of going about it? How can I contact you?
I think in the first instance, the easiest thing to do would actually just to give us a call. I think it's along the bottom of the screen now, but if you call us on 0207 644 2818, you'll be able to speak to one of our sales team, and what they'll be able to do is, rather than just I'll take some details and go for a meeting, you can actually have a chat with them on the phone and just talk about what your challenges currently are for your business, and or simply asking for advice on where they think that we'd be able to help strategically develop their IT within their organization.
Okay. Is there any other way we can contact you, say on social media or your website details?
Well, yeah, obviously we do live in a digital age, so we've got our website at www.virtualit.biz. That will give you, of course, all the general overview of what we do, where we are, where we come from, the people, and that sort of thing. You'll even see our mission and values, I'm sure. And that will obviously have all of our contact details on as well. But we do also live on YouTube these days, so you can catch our channel there, which is quite good. We've started uploading usability guides as well for popular core applications such as your Microsoft Office and stuff like that. We've also got a Facebook page where we link back to the various blogs and stuff that we do on a bi-weekly basis, I think it is now, and those cover all different sorts of subjects, just really to hopefully share that information with everybody.
Fantastic. Well, folks, we've been interviewing Toby Wakelin, a customer service manager at Virtual IT Ltd, which is a specialist IT support company in London. They work with small to medium-sized businesses within the M25 area. And Toby, I must say thank you very much for coming on board and sharing with us what your company does and how you can be of great support to the local businesses in our area.
Nishit, it was a pleasure seeing you. So yeah, thanks very much for having me.
No problem. I hope to have you back sometime soon,
Yeah, I look forward to it.
possibly for one of your usability guides, where we can have a quick hangout with probably some tips on how to use Outlook or something like that.
Yeah, sure thing.
Wonderful. So I look forward to seeing you sometime soon, and thank you for sharing your experiences with us.
Yeah, thanks again.
Folks, at SWS TV, may I remind you, we interview local business experts like Toby and Virtual IT, and we also have a YouTube channel where you'll catch the replay for this Hangout. So thank you very much, and I look forward to having you back on another local business interview.